We are
No.
live.
No. Live?
We're live now,
Hey,
Carl.
we're live right now?
We're live right now.
Live, guys.
Not the cat
We're
or
live. Woo! Mom, I'm on TV!
Yeah. Hi, Mom. We're here with from whatever direction Mason is on to the other side. Starting, we got Mason, Tim Hankins, Karl Hinkley, Chucky's behind him, and Noah, whose last name I'll never try to say, is
Likes
on the
bikes.
end. What?
Like bikes. No one likes bikes.
Oh,
likes
okay, that's
bikes.
his last name. I thought it would be fun to do a Cornhucket recap live as kind of a teaser-ish for the video that'll be coming out hopefully this week.
Heck.
I'm trying. I'm a quarter of the way through all of the clips and like going through stuff and starting the editing.
I can't believe you're already a quarter of the way through. That's a lot of clips.
Yeah, man.
There's 900 clips total, and I'm 250 of them through it.
Wow. Nice.
Pretty much been my whole day so far. My first question is, how is everyone feeling?
Is what, Brant?
How's everyone feeling today?
Dude, how you guys feeling?
Honestly. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say bad words. I'm still hungover.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, except without the hungover part. Just
I got a voice backing up. Talk to you, Brant.
what?
You look great, Brant.
I
You look better than what he said.
thank you. I feel okay. We got Kier Huck's dad in the chat already.
Oh,
BMX, huh?
Yes.
Huck is so. I love that kid. He is awesome.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, first I'll say thank you for the super chat, Kier, and welcome as a member, JDA. But I remember the first time I ever saw Huck. I was walking into Ray's, and this little kid looks up at me. He's like, "I watch you on YouTube every day," and
That's so awesome.
that part I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I mean, that was a really cool experience, and they take a picture and stuff. But then I get tagged on Instagram later of him jumping the spine on one of those red 12-inch bikes or whatever those are with like yellow spokes. I know we've all seen them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Oh,
And that's just the beginning. Yeah, it's
the
just
way that taking into the wall on Saturday was so impressive.
dude,
He's blasting.
he jumped the whole drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing. One time he nose wheelied down the whole thing.
Yeah, that was
It was
terrifying.
If you think about it, that straw hat, the helmet, that drop is like twice the size for him because he is so small and his wheels are so small.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's like him doing Red Bull Rampage drops.
On a 14-inch bike.
Yeah.
Insane. So I know I already asked every single one of you what your favorite parts of Cornhucket were, but give me your favorite parts, starting with Mason.
My favorite part was just the humbleness of everyone that comes out here. You just know everyone that's out here is like family, and you're gonna get treated just like that. And I love that so much.
Tim.
Hey, Tim, what's your favorite?
Well, I think I could say a lot of things about the jam itself and Cornhucket itself, but I think my absolute favorite part about being out here for it is the people right here and how wholesome I feel every time I leave this place. I wouldn't miss Cornhucket for the world, and I'm so glad to have met these two dudes right here.
Thank you, Tim.
Only two of them. Not the other ones. Carl, you're last. Chucky.
I think I already told you.
You're
This
last.
before.
No, you're last.
So now, it's the hat. It makes sound go weird.
My
Chucky.
favorite part, it's got to be just all the little rippers. Every time I come out here, there's always a new kid that's so happy to learn something on their bike. Just how welcome they all feel. I love watching all the little kids just stoked, learn new tricks, and just the vibe out here is like nowhere else. You know, there's no little kid that's going to feel like he
doesn't have a place, and it's awesome. This place is amazing, and there's just so many good vibes.
Absolutely. Noah, how about you?
I'd say my favorite part, I mean, these guys are really hitting the good points on the positive energy and the good people out here, and that's really what we all do it for. But also what excites me about the Nowear Compound is the constant progression of it. Every time you come out, it's different. Every year, it's a little bit better, and everyone's equally stoked on it, and everyone comes together and contributes to every event and every obstacle how they can. And it's so cool to bring everyone together and progress as a compound and as a community together. It's cool.
Absolutely. Karl, your turn.
I'm going to change my answer now.
All right.
I sat and thought about it.
See, that's why
initially, I was going to tell you how you get a couple of those kids that, like the teenagers that come up the next day and they're like, "Thank you for the best time I've ever had," and they're like freaking out. So I guess I gave you the answer anyways, but now I'm changing it to this one.
Okay.
So I'm going to be honest. When we built and set forth to build a 30-foot tall wall, I was legitimately freaked out. And my favorite part was the first event being over. And everyone okay.
Except Tim.
Okay.
Tim was not okay.
Tim took a tumble, but at least he was able to walk away and he's all right now. But when you have a 30-foot wall and like guys like Adam Penberg trying to double peg stall 6 feet above that and like clinging on like he's
with
on
no
American
deck on the top of it. Yeah.
I'm just glad that we got through that and everybody's hyped to return and everybody that didn't come is hyped to then make a first visit to ride that wall.
Yes.
Absolutely. That is, yeah, that I realized halfway through this I should have rephrased my question so we can do it again. But with favorite thing that happened at Cornhucket.
Favorite thing that happened.
Oh,
Yes.
they're backwards.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Okay. My favorite thing.
No repeat answers.
I'm stoked to start first on this because my favorite thing was the wall event. The wall was sick. It was gnarly. Everyone got involved in some super sketchy way that they've probably never gotten involved in anything ever. And it was just so cool because we went into that event and it was like, everyone's going to get gnarly, but we have no clue what's about to happen.
Yeah.
When you go into all the other events, it's like, oh, like there's going to be some big this kind of trick or some big that kind of trick. No, it was just chaos and awesomeness.
Yes.
It was very unique. The wall.
Yeah, absolutely. Chucky, favorite thing that happened?
Favorite thing that happened, honestly, it was probably the Flatland. Just because it's one of those things that I don't get to see. It's not like you don't just go to a session and you're like, oh, these dudes are riding Flatland. Like, that's so rare to get to watch a group of Flatlanders get together and just shred for as long as they feel. Like,
Right.
destroy. Well,
Yeah, the Flatland, I'd never actually seen anyone ride Flatland except for Trevor a little bit ever before that. So it was like, I equated it to like how all these people that do podcasts have their story of, oh, I saw X Games as a little kid on TV and I was like, oh my God, this is the craziest thing ever. Well, I was sitting there as someone who's ridden for 15 years, like, oh my God, this is the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
You very rarely get to watch Flatland, and getting to see it in person is completely different than watching it on Instagram. Like,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Whoa, this
Beautiful.
is not. Yeah, this is real. That's cool.
I know you're being honest in that because Dave Norrie told me that last night. He said Brantmore's reaction to us riding was my highlight of the weekend.
That's awesome. It was real, dude. It was just, I could not believe the way that they were moving the bikes because I never pay attention to Flatland at all. Karl, you don't have to go last this time.
Tim it down. One last.
I'm up. All right. My favorite thing that happened was during the award ceremonies. I think Karl announced Matt Behringer's like third W of the day. And I just see this man prancing from all the way across the compound in a shredded up tuxedo shirt with his arms. But that was the most majestic thing that will ever happen in this cornfield.
He was so happy.
It was pure happiness, and I got that on video, so it was perfect.
That tall little 12-year-old dude. It was
It
great.
was so good.
Yep.
Epic human.
Yeah. My favorite part was definitely seeing the trails lit up. That was the most insane thing. I've never seen that, and I've never ridden in an environment like that before, and that was the craziest experience I've ever had.
Yeah, dude.
So
A good set of trails. Busted his butt to get that done. Got it done just in time.
Yeah, that was wild. I was actually telling the guy who owns the trails out here about that just a little bit ago, like trying to tell him that he needs to go out there and check the place out and ride trails in the dark.
Yeah, dude. Who doesn't want to ride trails in the dark? That was epic.
I think most people don't want to ride trails in the dark.
Well, the trails weren't dark, but the rest of the world was. Or the
Yeah.
rest of our world.
Right. Carl, what was your favorite thing that happened?
Honestly, like, it's always so hard to pick, but something that we haven't got to ever do before, and I guess I kind of geeked out about a little bit, was us buying that projector, and we put up the Flatland videos, and we did the Animals Frame promo, and just kind of giving that nice chill, because normally at the end of an event, you got guys that'll get together, have a couple drinks together, whatever they do, hang around a campfire. But this time we all sat on like a grass pad, and it was such a hippie style, cool environment, and everybody got real quiet, and everybody clapped together watching the videos and stuff. And I thought that moment was really cool, and I think that's something we need to do now on the regular. I'd like to maybe start doing a video premiere once a month, just inviting everybody out, and then bring that to every Cornhucket though, of showing new underground videos and stuff that that maybe isn't on the mainstream BMX media, and giving them a showcase, showing them off.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be cool. And that projector was definitely like a highlight, just being that it worked as well as it did too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna switch out my Matt Behringer on steroids hat, because if anybody remembers Matt from back in the day, he wore that little colored propeller thing. That was rad. And that was super cool. So I kind of thought of Matt when I bought this, but I'm gonna switch this out. I got a really cool hat this weekend from like the coolest dudes ever. The Tough Luck crew. Oh, Brant's got one too.
Look at that.
Got to represent for those guys, because they were probably some of the favorite people I've ever met, and they traveled like 20 hours from Virginia Beach, and they're definitely family, man. Like, super, super cool guys. I've known Jason for years on the internet, but that's what I like about events like this. Now I know him like personally.
Right.
Hung out in his. Everybody I talked to said those Tough Luck guys were amazing. And if you don't follow the Tough Luck crew, follow them, because that company's got a bright future. Great people.
Yeah, absolutely. I had never met him either, just talked to him before. And they're definitely really cool people to talk to. Doing like, they have like a unique kind of area of BMX that they're covering with their stuff. Like, kind of took over for the old shit luck thing that kind of seems like it's faded a little bit. But yeah, and I think it'd be cool to talk about like stuff like Tim and Tough Luck and that bike shop, and even your son Jason, who had stuff set up that the amount of times he told me, he looked at me, he was like, buy something throughout the day. Like,
That's his pitch.
It worked.
Want to go broke.
That's his sales pitch. Buy something.
It worked though.
It works. Well, and that's one thing, Brant, like right there, and I think it's one thing I miss that I think we bring to the events are when I used to travel to like the old Hoffman comps and stuff like that. There was like Scumboy Clothing, Poor Boy. There was all these like semi-smaller based companies that you can buy T-shirts out of the back of their vehicle, and I would look forward to go to every contest because you come home with something unique that you're not buying out of a magazine. You come talk to Tim and you can get a Capital T-shirt or a Capital tennis ball, or the Tough Luck stuff, and that we had all kinds of people here, and I think think that's just really cool when you're able to meet all these smaller companies and show them support, because all those smaller companies have a story and they're all supporting their own little scene and usually really helping out those team guys that all have a story too. And that is really the true essence of grassroots BMX and what keeps our sport going. Like, corporate's cool, big's cool. I'm not saying don't support all that. That's fine. But we can't forget to recognize the unsung heroes, the smaller guys, because they really are the driving force of what keeps the sport going.
Yeah, and I feel like it exists on a decent sized level, but it's not as like seen because it's the smaller jams where people are setting up like that. And there's just not as many bigger things for people to go to where there could even be someone set up with a 10.
Yeah. 100%.
Like I haven't been to Swamp Fest yet, but I feel like Swamp Fest. What?
There's nowhere more better for that than right here at the Nowear Compound.
Yeah.
Is nowhere more better is what they've been saying.
Carl's putting it on a t-shirt.
We're putting it on stickers. Nowhere more better.
Nowhere more better. Is that technically proper grammar?
Oh,
It's
100%.
Yeah. We figured it out real good Saturday night. It's definitely proper. Yeah.
That's funny. So along these lines of talking about favorite things that happened and favorite part of Cornhucket and all these things, what was your guys' favorite things that happened that weren't the riding parts of the event? Because a lot happened after dark. Riding happened after dark too, but like a lot of, I mean, I feel like at these events, not everyone's riding, but the parts that everyone participates in go on after the event's over.
I think anybody that's been here has met our friend Muscle Chad. He's not a BMXer. He can literally like bench a golf cart. Like, the guy is just stacked huge, and he's hilarious. And his sheer size would scare most people. And Matt Behringer's not a small guy either. And seeing those two click after the jam and toy with each other was one of my favorite parts, because Matt Behringer, as Tim said, he's in a tuxedo cutoff t-shirt, and he's over here just mowing on Doritos and like some cheap ass, chips and cheese stuff. And he keeps looking at Chad and making fun of him, calling him Tank Top. And Chad keeps stealing Matt's chips. And Matt finally just goes, "Do you want to just sit down and eat some of my chips or what?" It's those little, I don't know, it's that little kind of stuff that just keeps you smiling the whole time.
There was something that happened that I don't think any of you saw with Matt and Chad, and I was a part of it too. Chad did his whole chiropractor thing. He's like, it was Chad, Matt, and I were standing around talking, and then Chad like pulled us inside, and he made me do it. I'm like, he's like, "Lay down right here," and I'm like, there's a really big dude telling me to lay down on the ground right now. Like, this is scary. And he's talking about how his brother's a chiropractor, or somebody he knows a chiropractor. And so he like starts doing whatever, and then he cracks my back. And then it was awesome. But then he made Matt do it. And Matt lays down, and the first thing he says is like, "I hate you so much." And he's like, "You suck." And then he cracks his back one time, and it switches to, "I love you." And it was funny because there was 4 different things that he said that progressed from "I hate you" to "You're my favorite person in the world" by the time he stood up.
Chad kills it at the chiropractor stuff, because I know, like, right when I got here, I was like, "Chad, my back hurts, and I need you to fix it." And he's like, "Lay down on the ground right here." And he's just like kind of a little massage rub, and then just like just cracks your back all the way down, and then
Chucky's such a game player. Like, so it's funny because you got Chucky and Noah are like best friends, and they're both huckers in a complete brothers. They're huckers in a complete different way. Like, Noah's like the ball of energy all the time, good to go. Chucky's like the guy that sends it harder than anybody I've ever met, but he's always injured and miserable until it's game time. And then game time comes on, and it's front flip, no-hander, double front flip. And then immediately the next day, the whole day is complaining about how sore he is. In every visit. I love it.
That is funny. Yeah, Chad mentioned that Chucky always comes up to him and is like, crack my back or whatever. The funny part about it was that Chad and Matt were both like totally wasted at that point. So I'm completely sober and I'm experiencing all of it. It was just funny.
That's awesome.
We're so in the country, Brant. Like you remember the night before Cornhucket, like Cody Dixon used to make a bar in guy. So they're talking about bar ends, and they go up to the world's largest bars, and we'd have to have bar ends that are like 4.5 inches, just ginormous. And Matt's talking about how Cody needs to make one, and Matt needs to make another, and Matt goes around the corner and he just loses it. He's a and just starts dying laughing. I'm like, why is Matt like staring into the end of these bars, dying laughing? And then here comes this tree frog, bloop, and just jumps out. And Matt's crawling around the wedge, and he's like, "This is going on my story."
That's funny.
But we're such a country. You see animals all the time, and it's great.
Yeah.
I hate to enter. Maybe close the garage slightly because that sun is killing my eyeballs. Oh my god, I love you.
Are those tough luck sunglasses?
Spiders are man eating.
What?
Yeah, the wolf spiders.
Saw one that was this big.
That's terrifying.
It's probably like, dude, it's probably like this. But Riley, I don't know if you know Riley from PHB. He's a pretty big guy. He's got pretty big hands, right? He's picked this thing up, and he had his hand closed like this, and it was on the end of a stick, and it was the size of his fist. It was terrifying.
Riley also had the best shirt. If you noticed Riley's shirt, it was his tank top. Sunburn was so bad that he Sharpied a tank top on himself. And when I first looked at him, I actually thought he might have had a shirt on until I saw that he painted his nipples as well.
It got me.
I tried to buy one. He wasn't coming up off of them.
That's funny. Does anybody else have any funny?
Someone let a tree frog in the house, and every year on my Snapchat memories, there's a video of Rayla trying to catch the tree frog out of the house because someone had the tree frog, and yeah, it was pretty great.
Hilarious.
That's funny. Is there anybody else have any funny stories that weren't were post or pre-jam things like that?
I've got a wholesome story. I've got a really good story.
Okay.
Our friend Guatemala. What's his name?
Emmanuel.
He is one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
And last year he was one of my favorite people. And he just has such good energy that you don't even need to speak to him to communicate with him. And he's always worried about communicating and how good his English is, and we can always understand him. And it makes him so happy to just be a part of our BMX culture.
Yeah.
And, we ended up having a conversation with him, and it got so good that Karl just pulled his phone out and filmed the conversation. And
he's just such a good human.
He at one point, we were just telling him, like, dude, you are a really good person. And he was just talking about, his relationship with bikes and all that. And he got emotional and all that. And that was probably, off the bikes, that was probably my favorite part of Cornhucket this year.
Nice. Is that the same Emmanuel from the story?
Bike?
What?
He's got a pink bike with jet fuel bars and jet fuel forks. It looks pretty crazy.
Oh, there you go. Damn it. How was cleanup?
It wasn't that bad this year.
It was pretty good, and I think that's what amazes me is the groups of people that come from all over all the time. Like, they get right in and kind of see where the energy's going. Like, I always say that the Cornhucket's the good juggle jam. Like, things don't get out of control, like, at least to the sense where we're gonna piss off the farmer neighbors or the local community, and families can attend during the day, and their kids are safe and everything's fun. So it's like that well-rounded where you're welcome to come and get a little bit loose, but we're respectful to the safety of life. Like, we don't want you, having a bunch of drinks and driving. That's why we have the open camping and stuff like that. And I think it's just that perfect, respectful juggle of just a wholesome good time for everyone. And so in that sense, I think people are really good about picking up after themselves. And like, for the most part, we put everything on a couple trailers and hauled it over. And we've got, we got our 30, 55-gallon bags that are sealed up full of trash. And it's not all over my yard or the farmer's field. So it's great.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I mean, it seemed like yesterday morning. How crazy is it that I just saw all of you yesterday? And I'm in Ohio right now. It seemed like yesterday morning there was just all the trash that I saw was all beside trash cans. It's like everyone put their stuff by the trash cans. Nobody left anything, or not too much stuff, around. It's cool to see that. I wish I didn't forget what I was gonna say while you were talking. It happens.
Silence!
I'd really love to talk about Eli snapping his frame, though. That was the craziest thing I've seen.
That was really funny because he didn't know what I meant when I said hold it up.
Yeah.
And then he finally did.
Kid.
Right, and he finally held it up, and it was like you could just hear everyone in the background just like it was awesome.
That made the BMX thing, Brant. I think that got more cheers than an 11-year-old kid snapped his bike and got back up, and as soon as you got him to hold it up, you heard 200 people just lose their minds that were over by the McGinnis Megas area, and it was so cool.
It was so cool.
Yep.
And then he went and grabbed one of the lender bikes that Karl was super gracious to have here for kids. Bike that is not his, probably didn't feel anything like his bike. Just a totally random bike.
Yeah.
And he was back out there jumping the Mega again on that. That was really gnarly.
Again,
I don't even want to jump it on my own bike. He's big props.
I'm very, very glad Eli's okay, but that kind of was a great demonstration to all these parents that we talk to all the time when they ask me about what should I get my kid into, and I tell them, not the Walmart bike, but get something, pretty decent, because he didn't have the cheapest bike, but it was as cheap of the lower end bikes that come, and the next thing you know, it's in half. Thank goodness he's okay, but that's why we explain to parents, go a little bit better because kid safety.
Yep. Great bike.
Yep.
Right.
Pete's about to steal.
Yeah, absolutely. Was that the dog?
Dog just jumped in the golf cart. He's up by the steering wheel right now.
It's gonna drive away.
Learned how to drive.
Yep.
That's funny. Yeah, that's a really good thing to bring up too, because I mean, on my YouTube channel, I won't promote any bike that's not full chromoly and sealed hubs, double walled rims, anything. Even though, like, those high tensile steel bikes have gotten a lot better, and yeah, they're probably okay for a minute. I'll still never ever suggest anyone buy one.
Nope.
No. And the one he was riding wasn't high tensile, it was aluminum. And I looked at it, it wasn't like race thick aluminum.
No.
It was really thin, cheap Taiwan aluminum.
It looked like a steel frame, but with like aluminum material.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Insane.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Like you said, that kid's starting to step his game up and riding a lot. And unfortunately, with where the market is right now, as you know, the parents have been shopping for a while, and it's just not a lot of stuff is in stock. It took them 2 months to find 18-inch tires.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough right now. But it's an example for other people to kind of. Someone said, "Please tell me you got the footage, Brant." I got the goods. I was right there when he broke it, and immediately got up in front of him and was like, hold it up in the air.
Let's talk more about, because people are getting ready for this video, we got to tease them with some stuff. Let's talk about some of the crazy tricks we saw at each event, like starting with the wall. Well, what was your guys'
yeah, real quick. I remember what I wanted to say that I forgot. You mentioned that you have regard for human life, but you also built a 30-foot wall.
So, this is what's great, Brant. I do this all the time, and parents look at me like, but kids will be running around here, and they'll be playing tag or something. They'll be like running by where I know there's like materials or a sharp edge or something. I'm like, kids, don't run around over there. And then 10 minutes later, I'm trying to get them to like flip for their first time or something. Like, But it's
That's funny.
it's one of the things like, yeah, I promote the extreme sports, but doing it in the right way. But I also know that I've been to the hospital before doing laundry because of taking my leg out while running around a corner. So it is funny, yeah.
But
I
those are
feel
great.
quite a lot ball, to be honest. So that's promoting life in my opinion.
That's she.
There you go.
And what did you say? Well, tell him what happened, Chucky, on the
Sam's disaster.
Oh my god.
Sam,
He did it 3 times for no reason.
Right?
30. Like,
Just because.
I remember from the Capitol tent, like the barn's kind of in the way, but I can see the whole wall, but I can't see like the bottom of the dirt transition from there. So I see him doing it, and it's like all I can see is once he like barely makes it into the dirt, and then I'm like, oh man, I really hope he's okay, because that's just downright not right.
Not right.
Yeah.
That ain't right.
That wall
Yeah, so-
event was insane, and it was first.
Yeah.
we had to have people prime, though. Like,
Right.
'cause it was going to every bit of energy to max out on that wall.
Totally.
Yeah, and that wasn't like the disaster was definitely up there. But then you got that Michael dude trying to freaking tire tap the deck.
Yes.
Oh, Michael Woolley.
oh my.
Yeah, Michael's gnarly. And that was brakeless. I think he was trying to tire tap it brakeless 30 feet in the air. And like, what sucks is the jam kind of ended and we had to move on. We all know Michael can stick that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And oh my god, I was like filming that. There was a couple times where I was like genuinely scared to watch.
So do you want to know when I felt like that, but was also my favorite part of that event?
What's that?
The only got blessed with the presence of Tyler Fields.
Oh, no.
Every single thing he tried was there was one point where he rode 20 feet down the wall, 6 inches from the edge.
Oh, I know.
There was another point where he went up the wall probably 25 feet, got both his feet on the other side of his bike, did a running man.
Running man 20 feet, 25 feet in the air.
On a ramp. He did a bunch of crazy, unique stuff, and unfortunately, it put him out for the rest of the day, but that had me super hyped. He was really attacking that ramp.
That was
So
insane.
I really enjoy Joey Bags doing like Smith on the side of the wall to 180 back in, because myself and a bunch of other people I talked to, like when we seen it on the interwebs, we were like, you know, that's going to be the go-to thing. And then we all get here and we're like, never mind, no thank you. And that dude just did it because he's a wild animal.
No problem.
He also had that turn down.
What's that, Brant?
He also did the turn down on it that was completely overclicked.
Dude, and he inverted, like, Joey inverts, like, more than anybody can invert. And
Yeah, that was wild. And
and Danny's 39 years old, and he 450'd and underflipped
And tail
and tail whipped. The guy's 39.
he rips.
And what's funny, like Sam Bussell mentioned this, Sam is not a tech rider. So or Danny is not a tech rider. So when you go ride like a half pipe with Danny, he'll sit and like he'll do some stuff and struggle, but give him a 30-foot tall wall and he's gonna 450 out graciously 15 feet in the air like it's nothing.
he was the one person who was unsuccessful in like a crashing way, but still was so graceful to get out of it that it was like nothing. It was like he was falling on a 4-foot quarter. It was crazy.
No.
So good. That shows years of bike control.
Yeah.
Bronson, I watched back, and we'll probably see on Brant's video at least the attempt. Bronson on the first or second flare was legitimately 20-some feet in the air flaring.
His tire
20-some
was to
feet.
the flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw his back tire up by the flag, so his back tire was almost 30 feet
Over
in the
30
air.
feet, right.
What?
Yeah.
And we could do it with a few more tries.
Right. Yeah, that was the hard part about that one, is that it took an hour and a half to get to the point where people were sending like that insane stuff, and then it just ran out of time.
Yeah.
He should have made it 30 minutes longer.
That's always the problem. I get like everybody loves the mini jams, but it's so hard to go spot to spot because you get you get hundreds of people together and everybody's hungry to like, it's super fun, but it also like leaves you wanting more. But maybe that's what's cool is
That is what's cool.
then people want to come back and just visit when it's not a jam to get that trick.
Yeah, I think that. Go ahead.
I would maybe consider next year, Karl, making that like the second contest of the day, you know? So everybody can get warmed up before that.
That's why you come days early. You help me,
Yeah.
you get warmed up. Yeah,
That's what I did.
Noah was
but
ready
look
to go
what
at 6 a.m.
My legs were actually shot by the time the event came around, but I was so happy to ride that ramp.
You need all the energy you can get for that thing.
All the energy you can get. Next time I come back to this compound, I'm not coming back without a 32 or 33-2 sprocket. I'm going to pedal as hard as I can. My goal on that ramp is to be able to air over that flag.
We could have towed you in on a dirt bike.
Like literally that rant is funny because when Sam Bustle stopped by yesterday, or Scuba Steve, sorry, not Sam. When Scuba Steve was getting ready to leave, he's my CAD drawer for my CNC stuff. I said, Scuba, we need a 32 sprocket. So I'm going to be talking to my machine guy because there's people that come out, they ride that stuff a lot, and I'm going to have a bigger gear for them.
Straight up.
Yeah.
It's going to become Nowear shredded.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot of people would have bought 32 sprockets that day. I know people were asking Karl.
It made it like a
people
race.
were coming to
Like
the
a race
Capitol
event.
tent asking me. I'm like,
Yep.
sorry, like, dude.
Because when
So
you go to
many
the
people
races,
ask
the
for it.
dads are used to like, all right, get him a new gear. And
This
like,
track is
that's
so
exactly how this was, where everybody's like, does anybody have a 32?
I remember that. Yeah.
I need it.
Yeah. So moving on from there, just to talk about highlights of the day and stuff, the mega event was next, and we already talked about the kid breaking his frame, but there was a lot of other crazy. Danny is a good place to start with that too, because Danny literally crashed so hard on a front flip that he like couldn't get up immediately. And then he did it. Then he pulled it.
You think Danny's going to disappear for the day, and then you look up on top of rolling again, and here's Danny, suited up, ready to go again, and then nails it.
That's a wild animal.
Yeah.
Savage.
Don't
Yeah.
stop, Danny.
Freaking Noah, though. That was one thing I wish that we would have got to see pull. Those 720s on that were like, I was filming and you were traveling over me from that lip, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yep.
That's a new one for me, and that lip was a whole lot different than any lip I've ever tried it on, so I'm pretty motivated to get it on that.
Well, it is for dirt bikes, so.
Yeah, exactly. I felt it was a lot of fun riding the dirt bike ramp in the mega contest. It made me feel like an FMX rider. Fulfilled some childhood dreams for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Noah getting wild with the sevens and stuff, he's actually, as of this weekend, we've been planning it for a while, but we had to do it in person. He's the newest member to our pro team, so watch for some cool videos from Noah.
Woo! That was the man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm stoked on that. Dude, you're crazy, basically. I mean, no one else was going as high out of that big wall as you were.
That's what's funny. Chuck and I were talking about. Everybody's like, we were doing it. Noah's doing it like the night before in practice, and everybody's like, well, just think, that's just the beginning. And Chucky and I are like, it's not really the beginning, because I don't think they understand Noah's not human. So we're already kind of showing where there might be a few other guys that'll get close, but you're not gonna like exceed him.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's getting Dennis Anderson out here, like.
I think Noah would have went higher than Dennis, and I love Dennis.
You hear that, Dennis? You need to come out and get higher than Noah.
I mean, I think it would take a special person to go that high and higher, and I think maybe the wall and things like that might be what it takes to get people like that out there. But at the same time, I'm totally psyched if none of them ever show up and it's just the group that's there now.
Yeah. I really think that this feature is something that the sport needs. We need more of this cool stuff. I felt like Matt Hoffman pedaling into that ramp. Like, it's gives BMX that radness and that kind of just like raw edge that
Right.
no one thing like that. And we all met up and just sent it on there. And it was
Right,
so
well,
fun.
most of the
Neat is we
time,
got where the knows about now, but that's that's the typical, but like Noah's saying, most guys that are crazy and build a wild backyard setup swear by backyard setups solely based on the fact that they're not cookie cutter. Every single one is different and unique, and you feel like you found that hidden street spot because you going to trick this place. It's going to have a completely unique setup that you're not getting anywhere else because it's not emulated in a factory. It's sold, built somewhere. So I think you're right, Noah. Like, you're not going to go ride another 30-foot tombstone anywhere in the world. And if you do, it's not going to feel like the one you ride here. So, yeah, that is really cool.
Very cool.
yeah, and just the fact that something of that scale it might exist out there, but it's not accessible to anybody.
But it is, because everyone can come here for free.
There's
Nowear
better.
Compound. Just got to make the journey.
Right. But back to the mega thing. One thing that got me stoked with that were those two kids. I don't think they're brothers or whatever, but they're both on 16 or 18s, and they're jumping it and tricking it and going huge.
Hogan kid.
Yeah, Trenton and then Richard.
God, they blasted like bigger than half the adults.
Yeah. Oh, they did. And that
I said earlier, that's twice as big for them proportion-wise.
Exactly.
Like, they're kind of a semi. We call them mini megas, but they're motocross freestyle ramps we buy and make big jumps. To those kids, that's a full-on mega ramp.
right.
They're like the 85 on 450s.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
And when you think about that, and you think about that, I think it was Trenton who was going to, like, he was only a few feet underneath the top of that wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blasting.
And we keep going back. There's so much. The wall just keeps like. It's because you can see it from anywhere, so it just keeps. You can see it right now.
It's the coolest thing I think ever ridden. So it's hard not to get excited about it. But those kids were killing it everywhere, and they do kill it. And they show just a really nice bike control. And the thing was, they were going big everywhere, but it wasn't scary big. They looked really good on the bike. So I hope to see them ride more.
Yeah, that was the one thing about them that was like, I wasn't scared when they were riding the wall and stuff because it was like they're totally under control, and it's not like they were maybe they were trying to go to the top, but like with that bike, you're never in that run up in that setup. I don't want to talk in generalizations, but you're not gonna get there. They're going pretty much as high as was probably possible on their bikes, and it was totally under control and wild.
Full face helmets. Helmets are cool.
Before I forget, Brant, there's one thing I wanted to mention that was like, it's we're really excited about, kind of like one of the highlights of the weekend, highlights to the future, everything. Super cool is we try and offer as much as we can out here. You'd mentioned about the flatland, or one of you guys mentioned, Chucky did, how like that was your favorite part. See everybody seeing flatland. Well, I grew up going to the hopping comps where there was always flatland. So I guess I was kind of used to that, but I didn't realize so much that this generation isn't. And that is definitely lacking, because flatland is, I say, the most skilled part of BMX. And that's not to take away from any other, because I've BMXed my whole life. I don't have what it takes to be like a flatlander, because there's more time put into that than probably anything else. So on that note, what's really cool, talking to Dave Norrie, the Reclamation guys, Fred Gates, and Robert Riley, those guys are so giving all the time, trying to help out. They want to try and help us get going. Somebody press close on that. I got a cat on my lap. You still hear us, Brant?
Yeah, you're still there.
There we go. Battery thing. But we're finally going to pull the trigger, and we're going to put a permanent flatland pad out here. Going to hopefully try and get that going next spring or something, and there will be flatland offered out here then all the time. And I think that's just going to be amazing to be able to have that. I'm in my 40s, and I'm getting excited. Tim's got his buddy Bart from Florida here, and he's trying to teach me flatland earlier. I'm 44, and now I'm excited again because of those guys to try learning again. So you're never too old to learn, and flatland is just, it's badass.
I want to give a quick shout out. I don't know the kid's name. You guys will. The kid with the aqua profile goodies on his bike. riding flatland. Like, he was shredding everything else all day long. But when I seen him shredding the flatland,
I
learning
think it was the one
flatland tricks,
that Chucky got involved.
Blue frame.
Really? I think that was.
It was blue frame. Blue
it
fit
was
frame.
really. I seen a little kid ride flatland.
It was
like that young.
It was Richard
never-
Hogan.
Yeah,
It was
Brant,
so
because Brant was out there when he started riding.
That was
Yeah.
so cool to see. Got him
Yeah.
started early. That was
Brant, did you flatland at all? Did you?
I did a trick on Trevor's bike.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Was it a kid?
No, I didn't feel like doing a decade in sandals. The thought crossed my mind, but I was like, "Yep, this is how I'll get taken out for the weekend if I try this right now." The flatland thing is something that I definitely am glad that came up because I had a 40-minute conversation with Kim, Trevor, and Dave Norrie. We recorded the whole thing about like kind of trying to educate people who don't know about flatland on it, and also the conversation went heavily towards like how do we get more people involved with flatland, and there's some really good things that I think we came up with in that conversation, and ultimately came to the conclusion that it's like when you have events out there, I mean, how often, Tim, you're a perfect example, like you have a street jam, how often do you think about the flatland guys when you're having your street jam? It's like it's like a secondary thought if you're having a skate park jam or a street jam or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that, well, and then the same goes for the flatland people, is that it's like a secondary thought to think of some way to include the other people who ride Park Street or whatever. And so I think we came to some common ground in that conversation. It's just like, it's ultimately the people of all of it just thinking a little bit more about the other side, and that's all it would take to include everything.
Well, along those lines, Brant, like the biggest thing, like I've kicked myself, like especially these last 20 years, is so I grew up and I made a full force go at the street thing, and after I sustained some really, really bad injuries, then I started getting into mini ramp because I had to play it a little safer. Now I'm a tech guy, and I watch guys like Trevor, and I grew up watching like Chad DeGroot, and Chad DeGroot's like that. He's crazy good flatlander, and they take those skills to the mini ramp. And I feel like I'm held back so many times in the tricks I want to do on mini ramp because I'm not a good flatland rider. And it's like, the gymnastic kids that get into riding park are super good at double flips and stuff like that. Like, I think knowing a little bit of flatland can carry over into your overall skill with anything you want to do in freestyle. I think it's a really good thing to kind of have under your belt.
Absolutely. And just having a flatland jam include skate park, whatever segment they want to, and us as people who have jams at skate parks and street jams and whatever else, including the flatland guys, I think will help solve that problem.
So every year we have Cornhucket, this has to happen afterwards. Like last night, we all ate dinner together. Noah and Chucky and Aubrey made the best pizza I've ever had in my entire life. But we had to kill so many flies because the whole house is now coated in flies from our door going open, close, open, close, open, close.
We had at least 10 or 15 flies that we had to get out of the car the whole way home yesterday.
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah.
One thing, talking about the Flatlanders. Every single Flatlander that I talked to this weekend was one of the coolest people I've ever talked to.
Right?
Flatlanders are good people. If you ever see one of them, talk to them. Ask them how to do a certain trick. They're really, really cool folks. And I was really pleasantly surprised to be more exposed to the Flatland in the scene this weekend.
Yeah. I think it'll be really cool when you keep it as a part of the Nowear or Cornhucket moving forward.
Yes.
We had a park jam too. Don't forget that. Like, it's so funny, and I think Noah and a couple people mentioned that. It's funny. We fundraised for 4 years, did the impossible, or at least what everybody told us is impossible, and put up a full-sized indoor free park that people can ride year-round and everything. So it's like the Mecca, the crowning glory.
Yes.
And then we built this 30-foot tall wall, and we're like, the indoor was last year.
Yeah.
So
Somebody asked the question of what's next yesterday when I was walking around, and I'm like, damn, that's a good question.
As much as I'd like to say it's a big, crazy thing outside, I think we need to really focus on and where we raise money at the whole jam. And we don't know what we raised yet, but we know we did a very, very good job. It was very successful. It's all going to go towards our indoor pump track. So it'll be a full wood indoor pump track, 2-man race skate. Because I grew up racing and freestyle, and I want to make sure everybody's included out here. And pump tracks include everyone: mountain bikers, little kids, older people that just want to exercise. And since that's year round out here in the Midwest with snow and everything, we're going to be able to really, really help people. And so this winter, I'm going crazy, building. And if I don't finish the winter, then we'll just try and focus on to make sure that pump track's here for people, at least before next Cornhucket.
Yeah. Speaking of the skate park jam that went down, I just want to let everyone know that Mason White did a decade to 180 first try up that step up.
It's his go-to.
That I didn't get on video because it was first try.
Don't go do it right now. We'll send you the clip for the video.
And you want to go do this while we're
Yeah. That park jam was really cool, and I think a cool part about it was that the kids were as stoked as they were at the same time. And then you have the segmented part where like, all right, we need to kind of clear things out and let the bigger guys like let loose. And it was a cool event.
Well, what was neat about some of those kids is it was, we intermixed everybody, but they understood, it wasn't just the fact that they were younger and little, it's they were in an area where the guys smacking walls, so they came up to the step up and started smashing the step up with everybody. And then that was perfect. It opened up the park, but they were still riding. Like, Huck is 6 years old, and I see Chucky and one of the dudes from Tough Luck, like, coaching him on how to do a Superman. And you're thinking, okay, the kid's 6, and the next thing you know, here's Huck pulling his first Superman up a step up.
At 6.
Like, what is going on?
At 6 years old.
At 6. The pedal. I think I was wearing diapers at 6.
That kid has a
That's
bright
about average
future.
age, right?
Huck, you are sick.
BMX Huck. BMX Huck. BMX Huck. BMX Huck. BMX Huck.
Huck is the man.
And
I want stickers on my bike.
All of us have Huck stickers on our bikes now.
And they're like Hutch playoffs too, right? That's awesome.
No, they're not.
no, they're not selling them, so I think it's okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, those are long.
I paid. I had to give a high five for mine.
That's funny. Yeah, that kid. And the funny part about it is that his dad had to like tell him, like, if you're gonna do something, you need to let me know like what you're gonna do. Like it's most of the
nobody's there, and that thing is so high.
Yeah, like most of the time in BMX, there's just no getting away from the reality that there's mad dads in BMX who are forcing their kids to do things. This is like the exact opposite. This is Huck who's just like, all right, I'm gonna do it, and just does it, and his dad's like,
He's got a good dad.
He's got a great dad.
Yeah.
They're just out having
His dad
fun.
stood at the top of the semi and pulled everyone's bikes up for the wall.
that was after going around in the morning and collecting the money for the spectators and the riding and getting wristbands and waivers signed. Like,
It's awesome. He's awesome.
He's solid.
His dad worked the whole time, like the whole time.
and
Wow,
he
so
even
try-
filmed. He even filmed while I was riding during the park thing. He filmed the entire time until it was over while I was riding.
Yeah.
So, did you get the clip?
Unsung heroes? What we talk about?
Did you get the clip of your candy bar, wall plant, crazy tech, sick clip coming
It is-
after?
It is
That
a
was
clip.
probably the whole park event. And I was sitting right there on that hubba, and I could feel how hard you were kicking that wall and like pound. It was so sick. That trick got me fired up.
Thanks, man. It was
Yeah.
one of those things, and this is a good like story of the vibes that happened, because it was like the park thing, and I'm like, oh my god, I want to ride right now, but I'm the kind of person who won't ride without my shin guards and ankle braces and all that
Sure.
stuff. And I'm wearing shorts. And so I'm like, all right, I just really want to ride right now. And then Trevor comes in and lands one trick. And I'm like, well, looks like I'm riding. And then Kier pokes his head and is like, and he brings me a Gatorade because that's just who he is. And he's like, do you want me to film or what? I'm like, please. And then I go and get to ride. And yeah, it was fun.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was pretty awesome that you did that in your basketball shorts too, correct?
It was.
That's and style.
It took the hype of an event like that to lose the fear of my claws on my cranks from clawing my feet or shins.
Holy.
You know, another thing, just to kind of add to it is, what's cool about the Cornhucket Jams is like how you notice people from different parts of the coast, Midwest, wherever, all kind of go together. And when you watch the ramp jam, then you really see so many different styles that you don't even you can't turn away for 1 second because you don't know you're going to see a guy like that has street skills that's going to go do a nosy 540 like that Davey guy from Tough Luck, to Noah gonna go, or Chucky gonna do crazy front or backflip transfers, to Adam Penberg gonna do a half-bar backflip or something like.
Whoa.
Or no, what was he doing?
He did a half bar to can lander.
Like, I have another shout out for the jam. The doubles. I forget these two guys' name. Oh, it was Adam
and
another
Michael.
They were doing some of the most righteous doubles. They were carving in and out of each other on the bird walls. It looked like a synchronized dance. It looked like it was their local spot. And they did it all the time. And at one point, they did a high five.
Oh, and then Michael did a bar after.
It was so sick.
They jumped the step up, high five Michael Bard.
Yeah.
And then they split off and just kept doing this veery stuff, and it was wild.
It was funny when you were on the course while they were doing that because it was totally unplanned. And like one of them would do something and like it would kind of like be like a close moment, and you just hear him out there be like, oh, like you'd hear him just not knowing what was coming.
But making it work, oh my gosh.
I love seeing Trevor Watering riding that ramp, and anything for that matter.
Anything
and, like,
Trevor does.
Incorporating flatland into everything he does, whether he means to or not. He is the picture-perfect example of doing so. It's amazing to see.
When you say Trevor right off the bat, then I think Trevor and Dustin, because they both got the tech bike going.
Yep.
And like, I'm gonna really apologize that I forgot Dustin's girl's name.
Sandy.
Sandy, dude. Let's have some respect.
Yeah. So that's about the events. Like, that's so cool, and the uniqueness is she took the time to hand knit Cornhucket corn cobs, and I got one.
I never took mine out
and
of my pocket.
That's right there.
You gotta get close. Tim, bring it close.
Here, press.
Hold
on. Scary to not call right now.
Oh, are we back?
Yep, you're there.
All right. Look at it. Oh my God, I broke it.
They're separate.
Round two.
You husk the corn.
Bow! And it says somewhere Cornhucket 2021. Yeah.
But it's that thoughtfulness, and it's so many of these people that want to come contribute. Like Dustin and Dustin's one of the raddest guys I've ever met, and just interacting and hanging with him, it feels so cool. And then when he's got his lady doing stuff like that, that's from the heart, man. Like, and that's so many people out here. This is definitely not a jam you go to because you're like, man, I'm gonna go get that X Games exposure. You're coming here to jam for friendships, like, and you go back with memories that you never forget, and those memories are the core of what's great about our sport. Like, I've talked to a lot of other pros before. We're like, you forget half the contests you won or the trophies you have. Yeah. You never forget the bonds, the friendships, the funny stories. Don't forget that journey. That journey in BMX is beautiful, and that I feel like Cornhucket really brings that home.
Yes.
A perfect person to talk to about that is Matt Behringer, and because I asked him about it. I don't think I got it on video, but I just asked him about it. Like, if like why he's so stoked on everything, because Matt Berenger shows up on Friday. He's wearing a Nowear shirt, a perfect high five hat, and he's just stoked on everything. And like you see someone who's got such a legendary status in BMX, who's that much of a supporter of something like that. It's the perfect answer. Somebody in the chat asked, will there ever be a Cornhucket versus Swamp Fest? It's a perfect no answer to that.
No, it's just two different jams that are both really cool in their own unique way, I think. So,
go to both.
Yeah, exactly.
Put them on the same day. I'm going to Cornhucket.
Just go support all the jams you can. Like the one thing I really like to always tell people about why it means a lot to me when people come to Cornhucket is that's the only time of year we ask for like a donation to ride. You can ride here free year round, and that money goes directly towards our indoor because it's a huge undertaking. Insurance, everything else. It's an expensive place to run, but we believe in it and we do it because kids need it. There's not just kids in the local community, but just kids all the time and riders themselves like to have an experience or hang out with a friend. This is my favorite moment of the weekend right here, Brant. I'm not going to tell you who or anything like that, but I got to meet a rider and talk to him in the middle of the night who suffered from addiction. There's the behind the scenes stuff that people don't know about myself and why I run this place. I've lost a lot of friends to drugs and suicides, and I run this place because I'm hoping that little interaction can save a life, and I believe everybody deserves second chances. I got to cry and hug a person that I think I'm going to be good friends with now the rest of my life, and hopefully we can always be there for each other when we need each other. That was hands down my favorite part of the weekend and why I love Nowear. I love the Compound. I love all these guys because all these guys are those type of humans that will go help someone, be that friendship and everything. Like, dude, it's what's beautiful about BMX saved my life from guys like this that I had met that took me in after heavy bullying, and it literally saved my life. And if any one of us can do that with this place, then I know we're doing the right thing.
That is the Nowear Compound. You just hit the nail on the head.
Nowhere more better.
So that's why please come and support our jams, because we want this place to continue. We want it to grow because we see it so much more than BMX, but we see it as an outlet to help people in life.
And on top of that, you've created or helped create a community of people that are close to you now. You kind of have to keep the indoor open because you got to keep them riding in the winter. Like, you don't have choice anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Dead Crow Army asked if you're planning on building cabins, and I thought that was an interesting thought.
That's okay. So those guys are awesome, and I've wanted to do that for a long time. There were some they used to have these things when I was younger in school, and the schools got too big. They put pods outside, and there were some for sale in Colorado a few years back, and they're cheap as hell, and I just missed out on it. But 100%, we want to do cabins at some point. That's the dream. Because my wife and I have septic. Things are hard to run out of our house all the time, but we'll still bring anybody in. But yes, I want cabins sometime. We definitely want to do that stuff. There was one thing I wanted to say, Brant. This is kind of a deep thing about BMX that I don't think people talk about enough. You know it because you made a shirt. BMX is always under a microscope. So this is really important to say. Don't judge a rider or a company off one little interaction or one thing you hear, like, because you guys are still going to go to the gas station. You're still going to pump gas from horrible oil companies that do terrible crap all the time. You're still going to go to Walmart and buy your Chinese made goods. You're still going to do all that stuff. Don't judge riders or companies. It's such a small niche deal. Have forgiveness. None of us are perfect. I've done so much stupid crap in my life. I've put my foot in my mouth a million times, but I have good intentions. I love everybody, and anybody that said something weird to me at a time, I try and just brush it off and figure, hey, we could ride another day and have some fun. So like Tim said that earlier, he came to Cornhucket first year, probably got a little too loose. And like he told me earlier, he goes, you welcome me back and like we're good friends. It's because I'm not going to judge somebody off that one interaction or something. But I think as a whole, we should all do that because BMX grows by that infectiousness of the positivity. So I think we should all keep it all the time. And we should all literally kind of be more hippie and love each other. And let's grow the crap out of this sport because it can bring more kids in. It can save more lives. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
BMX is rad.
Yeah, well said.
Love all these guys, man.
I love
So-
you more. So much love.
Carl's making this happen.
Thank you for coming, Brant, this year. Like, having you back meant so much, man. You see how many happy people were like, I hear the Brant Moore's here. Brant Moore's here. Like, and I know you don't like to hear that because you're a humble guy and stuff, but it's really cool because you are one of those positive things out right now that kids need, and being able to watch your YouTube channel and everything. It's so cool, man. It adds something to the sport that's just really needed. Well, just in life in general, it's needed all the time, and you inspire people. So then them being in Nebraska, you being in Ohio, and they're like, wow, I get to like meet Brant more and stuff like that. Like, that's cool stuff. Thank you. We're hoping to have you back as many times as we can. So
Come
Well,
back right now, please.
I'm not making that drive again today. I told you on Saturday I'm your official Cornhucket filmer.
dude,
Yes.
I'm
That's
down.
awesome. Yeah.
Down.
I
You're
mean,
a good representative.
thank
I will
you,
see.
thank you. I've-
10 year next.
What?
Nobody wants to miss 10 year. We're planning some epic
Yeah,
surprises already.
Hold
Already.
on a 10 year.
10 year.
Yeah, that
Corn
I'm stoked for that. I don't even know. It's just there's a lot of ways I could take a lot of things you just said, but I think the positivity side is an important one to address because I think in the past 5 to 10 years, the positive has started to outweigh the negative, where before that, the negative was outweighing the positive, and the sentiment in BMX has completely changed from like, yeah, you still have that negativity that exists, but for the most part, it's pretty positive anymore. And the one more time.
Keep it going.
I think you're right. We're riding a great wave right now. A really good one. We just got to keep rolling with that.
Yeah, and I think part of it is that the old salty guys who were the old salty guys that were influencing people in that way kind of faded out, and the people who really love it and actually care about
There is
the
and I sweat a lot, so I don't know what you're trying to say about it.
you know exactly.
And I had earlier, so
Karl smells really bad right now.
yeah,
Just gotta
I
be
use natural
straightforward.
deodorant. I pull it from the trees out here. I know I forgot deodorant half the days we built, and knowing I'd get a whiff of each other, it was not awesome things.
That's funny.
That's why I'm
Mason-
far away from each other.
Mason always smells good. Like, Mason can work all day, and he always smells good.
I don't work as hard as you boys.
No,
That's
you work hard.
That's the key right there.
That's
Funny
funny.
thing is, I work, I smell better than anyone.
That's funny.
Is there any to touch on from the jam that you can think of?
Not, I mean, I already told you the industry thing that I talked about, and I don't know if I really want to get into that side of things. It could be it's a good
That's a fun-
conversation.
Why?
Let's
What?
move past that.
No, go ahead.
I just think that what you're doing, the fact that it's grown the way that it has, it just shows how much the majority people in BMX care about this side of things. Like Swampfest is amazing. There's thousands of people there, and they're destroying stuff and all of that. But then you also have what you're doing, because it's the family side of things, and you come to the you come to
Oh, we're solid. We're good.
you come to Cornhucket, and like it feels like it's a totally independent thing of anything else. It's like the event for the people outside of the BMX industry, like the random guys who are at the skate park just chilling and having fun. It's like the event, obviously it's for anyone, but it's the event where all of those people come together and they are the family.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is a prime example. I think what's beautiful of it is Adam Banton, Matt Berenger. It's like, and anybody that knows those two knows they're great friends in the original Odd Couple. You got Matt Berenger, who gets a little loose, has a lot of fun, and he's one of the greatest guys you've ever met. Adam Banton is like, you know, he's very, very healthy. He's very, you know, like they intermix very differently. They are the original Odd Couple, and they come here, and it's the perfect like party for them because it's that juggle, like you say, like anybody can act how they feel is fun to them, and it just goes in perfect harmony at the whole jam. So it's a family-friendly, wall-getting-loose jam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And
that's the way
it's a great balance.
Yeah, it's where the you can bring the ABA race people with the old King of Dirt people, and you bring them together and have an event.
And the street dogs and flatlanders.
Yep, and everyone's there just being themselves, and I think that's an important part.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I gave that little quick, like I always talk about, man. Like, we don't need circles, because circles where you feel cool if you're inside of it. There's a bigger circle outside of it, the guys who don't feel cool because they're not in that circle. And that's what I love about Cornhucket is we hear from so many people, like the Tough Luck guys said, wow, thank you so much for everybody was so kind. Like, I love hearing that, man. That means the world to me to know that our local guys and the guys that traveled here and everybody that want to be a part of this is all so kind to each other that everybody leaves riding a high. Like riding this natural high of, oh my God, I love BMX. Like, and that's why I don't have a voice left. I couldn't even talk yesterday. And I'm sitting here, I just worked. I can't tell you, I worked the last 2 months straight, nonstop, 16, 18-hour days, no sleep, getting the event ready, doing shows, everything else. And I'm sitting here with energy, excited about the next year already. Like, it's only because of that natural high, because I met so many new cool people, saw all the people I knew that are already awesome, and everybody's awesome, and I sound like a hippie. I know.
It's so true. It's pure positivity and love. Like, there's no way around it. There's no other way to describe it.
Yep.
And there's nowhere more better to enjoy
right.
all of that.
And it's never been. And like I say the same thing all the time to anyone. Like, we make some different looking parts, stuff like that. And if you think something's goofy or you think some of the tricks we do are goofy, none of it matters. We say, come session with us because we love everybody. Like, freestyle is cool because it's diverse. None of us fell in love with freestyle because it's all the same. We fell in love with it because it's different and it expresses independence. We got to celebrate that. So I fist bump everybody that does anything different. I fist bump anybody, whatever style of riding. It doesn't matter. That's what's beautiful about it. Like, I love it. It's so good.
Absolutely. How do we end this? We need a good way to end it.
I got a good way to end it right here. The compound has something to ride for everyone and anyone. We've got dirt jumps, street, park, small ramps, big ramps, a tombstone that I promise you've never ridden anything like it in your life. So if you ever get a chance to come here, and especially a chance to come to Cornhucket, and experience all this love and positivity that we're talking about and experience BMX in its most epic, raw form, do it. Be a part of this.
Not even if you ever get a chance. Make a chance. Come out here. This place is awesome. Karl and Carrie are amazing. Huge thank you to those people for making this place happen, because without them, this place wouldn't exist.
For real, a big shout out to Karl and Carrie. Like, they held this whole event.
My wife is a damn rock star.
No kidding.
And to all the moms and everything, like Unsung Heroes all the time, like think all the volunteers, Brand. You got riders' moms, my mom, my mother-in-law, everybody working their tails off because they believe in the cause. Like, it is so rad.
Just for the cause. Yes.
What? Jimmy, you got something right there, right? You felt it? You felt something?
I wanted to chant the word Cornhucket when y'all are done.
All right, so you can chant that. Here's my final note. Is I'm gonna use Huck, and I'm sorry if I'm driving that Huck thing home, but I'm gonna do it because it's because of that family. So you got the dad helping, super cool, driven, blah blah blah. But watch Brant's video if you want to see a 6-year-old pull a Superman for his first time. Like, you all tune into X Games. It's really cool, but watch the future. Watch, because if that kid sticks with it, he is going to be the X Games. Like, so watch a 6-year-old pull a Superman for his very first time. That makes me know I got to keep doing this, because I need to give. Huck's dad told me, he goes, this is so cool you do this, because if you didn't do this, so many kids would not get the opportunity or the exposure. So he just thanked me up and down. And to see his son and get a piece of that, and Superman at 6 years old for his first time, I'm so happy to be able to do that for him, give that to him. And I'm thankful that I know that family now. So
He's making dreams come true. It's awesome.
all right, the count of 3, Brant, you got to do it with us. Tim said we got a Cornhucket.
First, I want to say there is nowhere more better. This place is awesome, and every year I leave here, I feel like I am in a better state of mind to run my own business and just conquer BMX all year long. And yeah,
Check out Capital, buy some parts. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3.
Cornhucket!
I choked.
We're gonna go eat pizza.
Okay, thanks for being on, and thanks for tuning in, everyone. Good night.